Well, I told myself this year I wasn't going to be doing any more robot mower reviews, but you know, it's just the way it goes. I got one, a brand new one behind me here. This is the Ecovacs GOAT 1000. I've been using it for about 6 weeks here, primarily in the backyard as kind of a test area. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and my observations about using this little mower. So I've tested several robot mowers. I've tested some of the most popular models out there that you see. I've tested definitely the most expensive one, or one of the most expensive models that I've seen. And generally, they definitely will come with quirks. Robot mowers, I think, by design are meant to help people who don't really have time to mow the lawn or physically can't mow the lawn. It will do it for you. Or if you need a mower that's kind of like an in-between machine where, you know, if you want it to run throughout the week so you can mow on the weekends, that's kind of what this mower is doing for me. But the tech on this thing is actually, in my opinion, is a really good compromise between the highest technology robot mowers that are out there and more of the basic technology. And what I mean by that is that it has a couple of things that I have never used on a robot mower before, and one of them is the auto boundary feature. So typically when you would set up your robot mower, you would come out to the yard and you would have to either follow the mower behind it with a remote control or your phone and try and navigate it around the perimeter of your lawn and obstacles in order to set your map. This has a feature on it where it will do it for you, which was awesome. And actually I tried it both ways and I found that the auto mapping actually did a lot better job, and it was much faster than if I were to map this by myself using the little joystick, the digital joystick that you get on the app, on the Ecovacs app that comes with this mower. But if you have obstacles like you see here behind me, those are going to have to be done manually. That's not a part of the auto function of creating the map. If you do a no-go zone, say you don't want your mower to come into these areas and run over the rocks and bump into things, just set yourself a no-go zone and it will navigate around this and it won't mow any of that area, potentially damaging the mower or damaging anything that you have in your lawn. All right, so I went ahead and did a manual pause on this just so I can give you a closer look at the mower. As you can see, there it is right there. This is made by Ecovacs. Really hadn't heard of this company before, but they reached out and asked if I wanted to review this mower. Generally, I shy away from doing them because I've tested a lot of robot mowers, and some of them great, some of them not so great. And this one looks to be a really good kind of middle of the road option. And I'll get to some of the tech on it here in just a minute. But on the top of the mower, as you can see, you have your height of cut settings. You can mow anywhere from 1.2 inches up to 3.2 inches. That's an interesting increment. It's you know, usually you see like 1.5 or 1 inch and then 1.5 all the way up to maybe 3.5 or 4 inches. But you know, hey, Ecovacs went with these odd increments, but no big deal. It seems to cut pretty well. So you have a little display here. This display is going to show you any error codes, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, how much battery you have left. You see I have a full charge here still, and I've cut a pretty good portion of my backyard here this morning with it. So that's a pretty good sign the battery lasts pretty long. And if you need to manually stop it, you have your stop button that you can push right there. All right, now flipping it over to the back side, it's going to continue to beep at me, so you're going to hear that throughout the video because I have it lifted up off the ground. That's one of the safety features. But typical of most robot mowers, you have a cutting disc right here, and the way that it mows the grass is that it spins these razor blades at a high rate or a high RPM. So that's generally how you're cutting the grass, is just with these little sharp blades. The mower does come with several replacement blades because these do go dull after some time and you need to go ahead and change those out. But really all you need is just a screwdriver. You can pop those right out, put some new blades on, and you're ready to go. So one of the features that actually makes this mower really nice is that it has LiDAR technology. So it's labeled right here on the top, LiDAR enhanced RTK navigation. So it does operate off of an RTK satellite signal, but you also have a few cameras and sensors on the mower that is going to help you in areas where you may have a low or loss of signal. The mower is going to continue working even though it may not have a strong signal at the RTK or the base station. The LiDAR is going to take over and it's actually going to help keep the mower on track, and it knows exactly where it mowed and where it needs to go back and maybe retouch up again, and the LiDAR definitely helps with that. Another thing I liked about this model is that Setup was incredibly easy compared to other models I've used before. So here's the base station. You just need to make sure that this is unobstructed in an open sky area. It comes out of the box like this. You don't have to put anything together. I didn't use the ground stakes here because I have this laid on concrete, but essentially all you have to do is connect that into your RTK base station. As you can see, I've got the wire here just roughed in. That's running over to the base station, but the RTK is really nice, blends in really nice with my black fence. Actually, you can't even really see it over here unless you try to look, but this blue light on here indicates a strong signal to the base and the mower. If this is ever blinking, it means that there's a lost signal or a low signal. And essentially what happens from that point is the LiDAR tech will take over and it will start to navigate its own path based on what it sees out of the camera. And usually when the afternoon sun hits back here, I get a lot of shade from that big elm tree over there in this tree line. So usually when you lose signal, it's because of canopy cover from the trees. And that has been a big problem for me in the past. All right, then once you have your RTK set up and your base station in a good spot, you want to go ahead and set a password. You're going to use the interface here just to set a password, any 4-digit numerical combination that you want. And from there, you're going to want to download the app. So there's going to be a QR code that's going to direct you to download the Ecovacs app. And then once you have that set up, you can go ahead and start mapping where you want the mower to go. So from time to unboxing to actually having the mower fully set up was about 25 minutes. The auto boundary feature was really nice. And that even includes my areas over here where I set a no-go zone for it. That was pretty simple and straightforward. So as far as setting it up, one of the easier ones that you will find for actually creating your maps. It really helps that there was no signal loss. So I've always had trouble getting robot mowers to work well for me here in the backyard because of the amount of tree cover I have in certain areas. I would lose signal, the mower would just die, and it would just sit in the middle of the yard until I came out and physically moved it myself, which is part of the reason why I was kind of losing a little bit of interest in looking at robot mowers, just because it was really more of a pain than a convenience for me, in that I was always having to come out and intervene. And let's say you're running your mower and you're not home, you're out of town, and you can't get to it, then what are you gonna do? You're just gonna have a mower that's sitting here with no signal, and it's gonna have a dead battery by the time you get back to it. So to me, it was just like, I didn't really see the benefit. Really, it wasn't something that I thought was a good option for a lot of people that were wanting to have it be more of a maintenance type of thing, where you're running it when you're not paying attention to the lawn, maybe throughout the week, or if you physically can't come out here, that would be a big problem. However, this has not been a problem. The LiDAR technology on this mower has not failed a single time in the 6 weeks that I've been using it. Due to the terrain back here, mowers would always get stuck kind of going up this hill, and it would spin the wheels and you would get ruts and track marks, or it would get under the shaded canopy area and it would lose signal and they would just sit there, or the mower just kind of bogged down because of the grass being so thick and tall. I haven't had that issue with this mower a single time, which is really kind of the motivation behind doing this review video, is I cannot believe that it's been 6 weeks and I haven't had to rescue this mower a single time. So to me, the biggest value add for this is the LiDAR technology. It actually works. The mower doesn't tend to get stuck, and I haven't had to come out and rescue it a single time. If you're looking for the mower that's going to be more of an auto mower where you don't have to do anything, so far this one fits the bill. All right, so I ranted on long enough about my issues I've had with mowers in the past. This one not losing signal at all, which is great, but then also it has a really nice quality of cut. As you can see behind me, this actually looks really good even from up here. And if I get down a little bit lower, you can see it does a really good job of cutting the lawn, even this tall, thick grass where most mowers would typically struggle. Now, one of the things comes standard on most mowers is obstacle avoidance. So things like a tennis ball, that's not something that it's really going to be able to detect, especially if it's down in the canopy of the grass. But I went ahead and I just put a flower pot out in front of the mower while it was mowing. It noticed that that was an obstruction and turned around and started to go the other direction. Sometimes it will just completely go around it. If it's kind of in in the direction of where the mower is going, it's not completely in the pass. it will just go around it. If it's fully in the pass, it'll just turn around and start mowing in the other direction. And that's going to be a key feature for most of us that have dogs. Maybe there's toys out in the yard from the kids and things like that. It keeps it from running over things and destroying the mower and potentially destroying some of the things you might have out in the yard that may have gotten left out by accident. I also wanted to get some shots of this mower mowing in tight spaces because it's not very bulky. It does a really good job of navigating in and out of smaller areas. You've got a little bit of a narrow path here. This is about 8 feet wide, and I'm cutting at a 45-degree angle, and it's doing a pretty good job. I've also have a slope in my backyard. I'm not entirely sure what the degree of the slope is, but it's pretty significant. If I come around here and show you from this angle, you can see that there's a pretty good slope there. And it hasn't had any problems mowing up and down that slope. Okay, so we talked about a lot of the things that I really like about this mower, but then we'll talk about a couple of the drawbacks. So this is the GOAT 1000 model. It is designed to mow a 1/4 acre yard. So for a lot of people, that's going to be just fine. If you need to mow a larger area than that, you're going to want to get a different model. Perhaps the 2500 model will suit you better. But this mower, as is, comes in at about $1,000. There's always a sale on it, it seems like. So a lot of times you can get in for under $1,000 or around $899, which is very, very low on the spectrum of the cost of your typical robot mower. Sometimes you'll find them anywhere between $2,500 and $10,000, while this one comes in at under $1,000 most times. This one is a great value, but you do sacrifice a little bit of capability. It's not going to mow a very large area. In fact, when I mow with this, generally I see it will cut for between 60 to 90 minutes, depending on, you know, the conditions. If it's wet or my grass is a little bit taller, it's gonna wear the battery down a little bit faster, but really it's designed to maintain the yard at 3.2 inches, and you really don't want to let it get much taller than that between cuts, because the cut quality is going to diminish. So you're better off running it more often. And speaking of running it more often, one of the things that you're going to want to do is set a schedule for the mower. So inside of the app, you can go in and schedule this mower to cut every day, every other day, every 3 days, whatever you want it to do, right? It's going to cut as little or as often as you would like. I would recommend that you do run it more frequently, just so it can keep up with the height of cut, especially during points of the year where you have a lot of top growth, and it's going to do just fine. One of the other drawbacks to this mower, in my opinion, is that it does have a smaller cutting deck. It's about 8 inches, so there's going to be a lot of very narrow passes, and the mower does tend to overlap a little bit. That's always something that you can adjust inside of the app, but it's going to cut some very narrow passes. So if you're the type of person who likes big, wide stripes in your lawn, this is not going to be the mower for you, where it's really going to be more of something that's going to just kind of maintain the height of the cut. And it's not going to give you really the aesthetic of, you know, big, wide stripes or a striped up lawn, if that's something that you're looking for, and really not a realistic opportunity to do something like that with a robot mower in general. But for the most part, this one is not going to do that for you if that's something that you really want to do. All right, so the mower is just kind of finishing up the final pass here, and then once it's done mowing the entire area, as a last step, it will run in a perimeter and cut the perimeter of the lawn. That's something that you can modify in the app if you want to. You can have it do a perimeter cut first and then mow in the area, or vice versa, whatever you prefer. But essentially, once it's done mowing, it will automatically return itself back to the docking station. It'll charge the battery up, and when it's time to mow again, it will be all ready to go. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you liked my review of the Ecovacs GOAT 1000. This one gets my approval as far as its ability to execute, not lose signal, have a nice quality of cut, very simple features, bundled with some advanced technology that I think make this mower a really good value at under $1,000. I think you get a lot of the high points for things that actually make sense to have in a robot mower. And if you don't really want an overcomplicated machine, this one is definitely going to fit the bill for you. So thank you for watching. Don't forget, give me a like and subscribe on the video, and I'll see you in the next one.